1988 wasn't just big hair and bigger choruses. It was the year a handful of songs roared in, branded themselves into your brain, and vanished from the charts just as fast. We're talking hooks you can still hum in your sleep, bands you forgot you loved, and stories you never heard. A road trip chant that turned weddings into mosh pits. A protest groove that rattled the radio. A midnight sky melody you swear you dreamed first. Today, 10 forgotten one-hit wonders from 1988 you need to hear. We'll count down 10 to 1, fast, sharp, and packed, with the one detail that'll make each track snap back into focus. Ready? Press play and let 1988 hit you like it never left. 10. The Proclaimers. I'm Gonna Be 500 Miles.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you.
The chorus is impossible to forget, but I would walk 500 miles. It's been shouted in bars, stadiums, weddings, and late-night car rides ever since. Twin brothers Craig and Charlie Reid came out of Scotland with thick accents, acoustic guitars, and a folk rock stomp that cut through the slick production of the late 80s. Released in 1988 on their album Sunshine on Leith, the song wasn't trying to be cool, it was direct, funny, and loud in its sincerity. At first, it only found modest success in the UK. But a few years later, when it landed on American radio in the soundtrack for Benny and June, 1993, it exploded, climbing into the US top 5 and turning the Proclaimers into unlikely stars. They kept recording and touring, but nothing else came close to the global takeover of 500 Miles. Today, it's less a song than a ritual, one of those choruses where everyone becomes the lead singer for a minute. 9. Midnight Oil. Beds Are Burning. You don't even need the intro, those opening drums and that stern bass line already sound like a warning. Then comes the chorus, "How can we sleep while our beds are burning?" A line that still lands like a punch. Midnight Oil were already huge in Australia, but in 1988 this protest anthem carried them worldwide. Frontman Peter Garrett, tall and bald with wild dance moves, turned every stage into a pulpit. The song wasn't just catchy, it was political, demanding land rights for Indigenous Australians at a time when few rock bands touched the subject. Beds Are Burning climbed into the top 10 in over a dozen countries, including the US and UK, and gave the band their one major international hit. They kept making music and campaigning for causes back home, but nothing else crossed over on this scale. Decades later, the song is still alive, chanted at rallies, covered by artists, and spun on radio whenever rock needs a reminder that it can rattle the walls and speak truth at the same time. 8. Living Color. Cult of Personality.
Look in my eyes, what do you see?
The riff hits first, sharp, metallic, impossible to ignore. Then Vernon Reid's guitar tears forward and Corey Glover belts the title like a call to arms. Cult of Personality. It's political, it's heavy, and it's instantly unforgettable. Formed in New York, Living Color stood out in 1988. A black rock band shredding harder than most of their peers, mixing funk grooves with metal muscle. Cult of Personality was their breakout, a song that dropped clips of Kennedy, Malcolm X, and Mussolini between verses, making the point crystal clear: charisma can be dangerous when it blinds. The single went top 20 on Billboard's Hot 100, won a Grammy for Best Hard Rock Performance, and MTV spun the video non-stop. For a moment, Living Color looked like the future of rock. They released more music, earned loyal fans, and toured with giants, but Cult of Personality was the song that defined them. Even today, it shows up in movies, video games, and arenas, the kind of track that never lost its teeth. 7. Edie Brickell and New Bohemians. What I Am. The hook is casual, almost shrugged. What I am is what I am. Are you what you are, or what? A line that sounds like it drifted out of a coffeehouse and onto the radio. Fronted by Edie Brickell, the Dallas band blended folk, jazz touches, and jangly college rock, at a moment when slick pop ruled the airwaves. Their 1988 single, What I Am, felt different, laid back, conversational, and delivered with Brickell's warm, slightly offbeat voice. The song climbed into the US top 10 and made the band overnight stars on MTV and radio. But that spotlight didn't last. Later albums never matched the same reach, and Brickell herself eventually stepped back from the mainstream, later recording solo work and collaborations. Still, What I Am became a late 80s time capsule, part folk wisdom, part jam session groove. It's the kind of song you don't blast, you let it ride, and it sticks in your head long after the fade out. 6. The Church, Under the Milky Way.
Sound of their breath fades with the lights.
The first notes feel like a dream. Hazy guitar, soft pulse, and then Steve Kilby's voice drops in like a whisper from another room. The chorus drifts, Under the Milky Way tonight. Romantic, mysterious, and instantly haunting. From Sydney, Australia, The Church had been working through the early 80s with jangly alt-rock albums, but in 1988 this song broke them through internationally. Co-written by Kilby and his then partner Karen Jansen, it wasn't just a love song, it carried an otherworldly mood, built on reverb-soaked guitars and that strange, almost bagpipe-sounding synth solo. Under the Milky Way cracked the US Top 40, became a staple on college and alternative radio, and later earned a second life in films like Donnie Darko. It's the track people instantly know, even if they can't always name the band. The Church kept releasing albums and building a devoted cult following, but this was their moment on the world stage. A quiet anthem that still feels like stargazing set to music. 5. The Escape Club. Wild, Wild West. A whip-crack drum machine, jangly guitar, and a chorus that goes full shout, heading for the 90s, living in the Wild, Wild West. It's goofy, it's slick, and it's pure late 80s fun. Formed in London, the Escape Club had been floating around the UK scene, but in 1988, this single shot them straight to the top. The song mashed up rock with dance beats, adding quirky sound effects and a tongue-in-cheek look at modern chaos. It wasn't deep, but it was catchy, and that's all it needed. Wild Wild West hit #1 on the US Billboard Hot 100, making them the only British band of the era to score a chart topper in America without ever cracking their own country's top 40. That odd twist explains a lot about why the group remains half forgotten today. They put out more albums, but none came close to the bizarre, irresistible pull of Wild Wild West. Decades later, it's remembered as a neon snapshot of 1988, cheesy, bold, and impossible not to sing along with once it starts. 4. Kingdom Come, Get It On. The opening riff fooled a lot of people. Many thought it was Led Zeppelin back from the dead. But no, this was Kingdom Come, a brand new hard rock outfit led by German singer Lenny Wolf. In 1988, their single Get It On hit radio like a thunderclap. All big guitars, pounding drums, and vocals dripping with Zeppelin's influence. The resemblance was both their blessing and curse. Fans of classic rock were curious, and the song raced up the charts, reaching the US top 5 on mainstream rock and pushing their debut album to platinum. But critics tagged them with the nickname Kingdom Clone, and the backlash came almost as quickly as the hype. Still, for one shining moment, Kingdom Come stood shoulder to shoulder with the giants. Get It On captured the late 80s hunger for arena-ready riffs. And if you didn't care about the comparisons, it rocked hard enough to feel timeless. After that, they kept recording, but nothing hit like their first swing. This was their one shot at glory, loud, brash, and gone in a flash. 3. The Godfathers. Birth, school, work, death.
Work! School! Work!
From the first grinding riff, you know this isn't a love song. The chorus hammers it home. Birth, school, work, death. 4 words, bleak as it gets, shouted like a pub chant. Formed in London in the mid-80s, the Godfathers blended punk snarl with hard rock punch, trimming away excess for songs that hit straight and fast. In 1988, their title track became their calling card. Part anthem, part complaint, part rallying cry for anyone sick of the grind. The single reached the US mainstream rock top 20 and even brushed the Billboard Hot 100, giving the band their one real taste of international spotlight. On stage, they doubled down, leather jackets and no-frills attitude, proving the song wasn't just a slogan, it was their manifesto. They kept recording and touring, but nothing else cut through as sharply. Decades later, birth, school, work, death still feels raw, a snapshot of frustration you can shout along with anytime life feels like a treadmill. 2. The Pursuit of Happiness. I'm an adult now. The hook says it all. I'm an adult now. Half a brag, half a sigh. With jangly guitars and dry, almost spoken vocals, this Canadian band turned everyday complaints about growing up into a rock anthem. Formed in Toronto, The Pursuit of Happiness first recorded the track independently in 1986, and its DIY video became a buzz clip on Canadian TV. When it was re-recorded and re-released in 1988, it finally broke wider, landing on Billboard's mainstream rock chart and carving out their one real moment in the spotlight. The song hit because it was relatable, no fantasy, no posturing, just lines about bad backs, responsibilities, and watching youthful rebellion fade in the rearview mirror. It was funny, a little bitter, and totally singable. The band kept releasing albums through the early 90s, but I'm an Adult Now stayed their signature. To this day, it feels like a snapshot of the moment when youth culture crashed headlong into reality and laughed about it anyway. 1. Bullet Boys. Smooth Up in Ya. If you wanted late 80s rock distilled into one track, this might be it. Sleazy swagger, big hooks, and a chorus that practically dares you not to shout along. Smooth Up in Ya. Formed in Los Angeles in 1987, Bullet Boys rode the crest of the glam metal wave. Frontman Mark Torian had the look, the moves, and the pipes. Half David Lee Roth, half Steven Tyler, backed by a band that leaned heavy but polished enough for MTV. Their self-titled debut dropped in 1988, and this single blasted onto Billboard's Hot 100, peaking at number 71, while hitting the top 40 on mainstream rock. MTV rotation pushed them into bedrooms across America, and for a moment they looked like the next big thing. But glam metal's peak was short, and by the time the 90s hit, the sound had already started to fade. Still, Smooth Up in Ya survives as a neon time capsule, loud, flashy, and unapologetically fun. One listen, and you're right back in 1988, hairspray in the air and volume cranked past 10. From Scottish twins walking 500 miles, to Australian protest rock shaking the radio, to glam metal swagger frozen in neon, 1988 gave us one-hit wonders that never left our heads, even if the bands faded from the charts. Which of these tracks took you straight back, and which one did we miss? Tell us in the comments, and if you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next countdown. Music history always hides gems waiting to be rediscovered. Until then, keep listening, keep remembering.